The medical community has recently released research stating that the power of positive thinking or optimism can give an individual greater resistance to the common cold and increase their lifespan. Now, I have an analogy. Let's say there was a hiker, and this hiker decides to go on a winter mountain hike. Nearing the peak, the hiker decides, well, I'm going to set up camp right here at the base of the peak, and then tomorrow I'll finish the hike. Well, during the course of the night, there's a horrible snowstorm, and the hiker's snowed in to the cave. Now, the first thing that happens is there's probably panic that registers with the hiker, maybe some frantic digging. And I'm sure the last thing on the hiker's mind is if they left the coffee pot on before they left on their journey. Now, while this is a dramatic example, it illustrates the point that fear and negative thought, they focus and narrow your thinking. So the problem is, negative thinking, it begins with your self-talk. Now, self-talk can be loosely and best defined as the things that continuously run through your head on a day-to-day basis. What is your self-talk? Are you aware of it? How do you talk to yourself in times of stress? How do you talk to yourself in good times? So consider the analogy of the hiker. Fear is a fight or flight response. It's autonomous. It's your survival instinct. And negative emotions are processed much in the same way, irrespective of the gravity of the situation, but shutting off the world outside and limiting the options that you see around you. So take a less dramatic example. Say you're in an argument with a loved one. Your frustration and anger, it might narrow your thinking. Or what about today's checklist? It's huge. There's so much to accomplish, and the gravity of the situation weighs you down so you get nothing done. All right? What about those New Year's resolutions, right? If you're not already on board, you might have thoughts like, I have no willpower, I'm just lazy, and they're very self-defeating. And the purpose is this is your self-talk. Now, the solution, the clear solution. So I have to bite off this example that I came across in my research by Barbara Fredrickson, who is a researcher for the University of North Carolina and has done tremendous work with social studies. So allow me to cite her example. A child who runs around outside, swinging on branches and playing with friends, develops the ability to move athletically, or their physical skills. The ability to explore and examine the world around them, which is their creative skills. In this way, the positive emotions of play and joy prompt the child to build skills that are useful in their life, even way after the emotions that initially triggered them began. So how do you put these positive thoughts and positive self-talk into effect and in play in your life? Well, you know what you love to do, and you got to make time to do the things to make you happy, because it's a crucial part of success. Success is often misconstrued as being the catalyst for happiness, but happiness is a precursor to success because it's open thought. It's very open thinking. So meditation is one. There's a great exercise that I've used, and it's to close your eyes and to try and breathe through each part of your body. Start with your toes and do 5 breaths and focus on the part of your body that you're trying to breathe through until you've gone through the course of your entire body. And what happens is your body begins to relax, and you begin to open your thinking towards things that you would like to accomplish. Writing has been proven in documented studies. Also, by the Journal of Research and Personality, they published a research saying that people who wrote their emotions about positive things every day for 3 months were less prone to illness, even. And that's just positive thinking. So imagine this. And I'm going to cite Barbara Fredrickson again from the University of North Carolina because I'm a fan of her work. So she tested the positive impact emotions on the brain through experimentation. And she created 5 groups. Group number 1, they saw images of happiness. Group 2, they saw images of contentment. Group 3 was their control group. They saw neutral images. Group 4 saw images of fear. And group 5 saw images of anger. So members of the group were then asked, after viewing the material, to imagine themselves in a situation where similar feelings would arise and to write down what they would do. What were the findings? Groups 4 and 5, which focused on fear and anger, wrote down the fewest responses. Groups 1 and 2, which focused on happiness and contentment, wrote down significantly higher numbers of actions that they would like to take, even when compared to the control group. So what can you expect? You can expect a broadened mentality. Optimism is associated with better psychological health, as is seen through lower levels of depression, moods of anxiety, and general stress, and illness and disease. And not to mention a longer lifespan and a greater resistance to the human cold, and heart disease, rehospitalization after surgery. The list goes on and on. So the challenge I give to you is for 21 days, manage your self-talk. Be aware of what you're saying to yourself. It takes 21 days to create a habit, and you have nothing but a promising future ahead of you. So with all the best.